glad to have you. We are thrilled to have you, and we're very thrilled to have Miss Susan Salaz here. Go ahead, Susie. Tell us all about how to pitch luxury design to the press.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am going to step back here only for a quick second to get my, I can get the slideshow going. See, I said this would happen. Is it up there? Did the TV get turned off? I'm gonna move my computer over here. Sorry.
No.
There you go.
Oh, awesome. So thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited. We have a great crowd. I haven't met everyone, but I am thrilled to be here with Tina and Ryan. I don't get out and talk all the time. I'm behind my computer a lot, so I will be checking my notes on the phone. But yeah, we've got a great topic today, and something that's really important, I think, for interior designers. It's like you are working so hard creating these beautiful projects that, yes, your clients enjoy, but so many people want to see them too and be inspired by them, and getting them out in the glossies is really, really an exciting thing. So I really appreciate everyone coming. And yeah, listening and learning today. It's going to be great. Thank you, Tina, for hosting, and Ryan, and I'm excited to see Ashley when she gets here. But yeah, Tina and Apollo Draperies they've been here, like she said, third generation, 50 years here in Cincinnati, serving this community with, elevated window treatments and to be a part of the design. So it's really, really great that we could all come together here. So over the next few minutes, I don't want to say how long because you guys might get up and leave, but I won't bore you for too long, but we do have I think it's an exciting topic, all about crafting compelling pitches for journalists and editors so that you can communicate the value of your designs in the press. Oh, I hear him. Let's see if I can swipe to the next slide here. So I was real excited to pull up and see my name on the sign outside. That was awesome. Tina introduced me with all of the things I think I might have on here. I started my journalism career in college at the University of Indianapolis, working on my college newspaper. I actually didn't study journalism there. I studied art, and I have a BFA in art, studio art and art history. I've worked as an artist, as an art handler. I've worked for the Indianapolis Museum of Art. I am from Indianapolis. I think I might have missed that part. So just up the road. And through all of that and raising my family, I realized I've always been a writer too, so I kind of kept turning back to writing because that was an easier thing to create and to use my creative brain. And just over the years, it's developed into this. I met LuAnn several years ago and started working on her writing team, which has just blown my mind in every sense of the word. And this picture actually was taken, I think, probably moments before Steph and I met at LuAnn Live last year. And I think it's just really a testament to like how industry events, whether they're small, intimate gatherings like this, or big things like Market Next Week, are so important to this industry, especially to make these connections and build these relationships. So after LuAnn Live, I started working closely with Stephanie Hamilton at Hamilton Creatives, where she's the founder and creative director. And I've been doing that for almost a whole year now. So we work on, let me backtrack real quick. In addition to that, I also still write for several magazines. One is Absolute Living. This is a Carmel, Indiana-based publication, all about luxury lifestyle stuff. This is the Fun Issues, our latest. It's our Women in Business issue. So I brought it just in case anyone wants to check that out. I still write for other magazines too every now and then. Indianapolis Monthly is one of my regular go-tos. Atlas Obscura, which is a digital publication, is a fun one. Road Troopers. They're not all in the design industry, but I do write a lot of design stories for those. Did we go dark? Oh dear. Okay, there we are.
Good job.
Awesome. So let's see what's next. It's not going forward. Let's see if it'll swipe. Well, I'm stuck for a second. Hang on, real quick.
behind you is our Ashley. She helps make our world go round.
I like the
And
sunglasses
this is
back
our
there.
little Axel. Incognito.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so here's my Hamilton Creative site. So we offer at Hamilton Creatives creative marketing for luxury home professionals. We do everything from email newsletters to blogging to social media management, graphic design, all kinds of things, specifically specializing in elevating luxury brands and kind of paving the way to tell their strategic story, tell their stories strategically. So Hamilton Creatives has been working with Tina and Apollo Draperies for almost a year now too, is that about right? Helping them kind of tell the story of Apollo and these fabulous window treatments that they create and are in so many amazing homes here in the city, and using that story and those capabilities and putting them into their marketing journey. Are you seeing all this? Okay. So in addition to Hamilton Creatives, I have my own business too, where I do more long form content, ghostwriting services, white papers, and things like that. Not kind of the everyday marketing thing, but if you want more of that long form things, I can help you with those. So here's a little bit about what we're going to get into today. We are going to talk about the power of the press. Press is essential to your business strategy, I believe, because it does so much more than just put your work and your name out there. And we'll get into all of those benefits in a minute, but it is a really, really powerful tool. And it's one that, we have access to in so many different avenues. We're also going to talk about understanding luxury design specifically and why it has more press appeal. That's not to say that other types of design won't get you press. There's all kinds of things that can get you press. But luxury design is something, like I said earlier, a lot of people want to see. We'll talk about navigating the media landscape. That's different media outlets, different journalists. I've been I told you, Tina, my technical skills. They're not terrible until I need them to be good.
Exactly.
We'll talk about crafting compelling pitches and press kits. And other ways beyond, traditional, I got featured in a magazine, ways to organically get your work out there. And then we'll also talk about building relationships, because like I said, that's key to every little part, is building your relationships with every different avenue that you can, whether that's your vendors, your journalists and editors, and everyone else here in the industry. And lastly, we're going to talk about being prepared to be lucky. I don't know if you listened to LuAnn Nigara, but that's one of her key phrases, and I think it all kind of ties into that. So we'll make sure we hit that. So I like to think of getting press, or the benefits of press, as putting on an act. And I'm not talking about faking anything, because it's all very authentic. Authenticity is the first thing that I think press is one of the benefits of press. It allows you to showcase yourself as you are, as your designs are, as your brand is, in front of thousands of people or even more. So it gives you that authenticity. Press also gives you authority. When you show up and people see you in person and, oh, I saw her in the magazine, you're allowed to speak on the subject of design. You're allowed to, be one of those leaders in the conversation. Press also gives you credibility. It's kind of like authority, it gives you that foundation that people will look back and notice. And press also gives you trust. We talk a lot about, in building all kinds of businesses, people have to know, like, and trust you. And if they see you in a magazine that they trust, like Cincinnati Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, AD, they trust those outlets and they're going to trust you, and that's all helpful. It's going to make me put my password in to get to the next one. I just don't want to miss anything. So. It's not letting me go. So beyond authenticity, authority, credibility, and trust, there is a lot more that press can help you do. It can help you expand your reach, not just with potential clients, but with potential vendors. It can help you justify higher luxury price points, which is one of my favorite things about it. When you have those press badges on your website, and people go to that website and they see, oh, they've been featured in AD or Dwell, or you spread that news on social media. Those are all, little ways to justify your rates, which I know that everybody here is capable of. It also helps generate word of mouth referrals. Referrals are great. I think all marketing helps in different ways, but referrals, they're gold, especially in luxury design, because in luxury design, people are researching a lot, they're investing a lot, and they want to know from someone else the value that you're going to bring. And when that someone else is not only writing about you and showing your pictures off to the world, but then they're mailing it to thousands of people, and it's showing up, it's just credibility that you can't get anywhere else. Press also provides new content for you. So if you're featured in something, we can write an email newsletter about it. We can write a blog about it. We can break that whole thing down and use that in your social media over the next year, 2 years. It gives you lots of new ways to promote your business just from one article. It also helps you create a record of your achievements. I think those press badges on websites, you might not think it matters, but I really do think that people do look at those and they look back and they see that you've done it. You see for yourself that you've done it, and I think that confidence means the world. And press gets you more press. It is not uncommon for journalists in the industry to share sources, especially when they're easy to work with. Or for a journalist to read something, here in a local newspaper and be like, oh, that's a cool story. Maybe I'll pitch that to this magazine or this national outlet, and contact you too. So I think there's lots of benefits beyond just getting your name out, for sure. So what sets luxury design apart? I think we all know that there's design and then there is luxury design. And a luxury design is about much more than just aesthetics. It is all of the components working together as a whole. It's the small minutia that no one else is going to notice except for you. It's the drapery pleats and the hardware that you can, Tina can tell you all about. That you aren't going to go if you go to Marshall's, or I'm assuming you have Marshall's here, and buy curtains, not draperies. It's all of that. It's the lifestyle change. It's the process and the experience that you get with luxury design. And like I said earlier, there's plenty of other things that people might put in the press, but luxury design, I think, is something that a lot of people want to see. I apologize that I'm scrolling through notes on my phone. I did not print this out. Luxury design is inherently trustworthy because it pushes boundaries, it sets trends, and it offers a glimpse into a world of uncompromising quality and creativity. I gave this one its own slide because I love that, and I think that this, if this is what you're going for, it doesn't have to be what you're going for at all. But if this is what you strive for, I think this kind of sums it up. That people want to see those boundaries pushed. They want to see something that they don't see every day. And I'm sure that all of you are creating designs that do that. So if you can understand this and articulate this and the distinguishing factors that set this luxury design apart, then you can create your pitches that truly capture the attention of journalists, editors, and all kinds of media outlets. So let's talk about getting to or understanding the press and different types of media outlets. There are all kinds of media outlets. It doesn't mean that they're all relevant to luxury design, but I think that you'd be surprised at how many outlets you could find a luxury design story in that might not be AD or Dwell or L Decor. Things like, if you work a lot in smart home technology, you could pitch a story to Wired. If you work in, I'm trying to think that I have a couple examples. If you do landscape design, there's all kinds of industry niche publications that you might find your audience. And it's all about finding that ideal audience. So I really suggest getting to know the different types of media outlets, whether that is the top tier publications that I've mentioned, or it's local and regional publications, Midwest Living, Cincinnati Magazine, your local newspapers. Don't discount any of those, and don't discount digital platforms either. Like I had mentioned earlier, platforms like Design Milk. People go there to quickly and easily read their stories. People don't always see the print edition of things. And AD Digital is a lot different than Architectural Digest in print that you might get in the mail. So don't hesitate to research all different types of outlets and look at the purposes they serve. And also think about their readership, their audience, their advertisers. If you're flipping through and the people that are advertising in a magazine are a lot of the same vendors you might use, or hitting those same types of ideal clients, then that's a good fit for you. If it's not, then it might not be a good fit. Another thing is keep editorial calendars in mind. We're approaching the holiday season. Now is not a good time to pitch a holiday story. You want to wait and do that, or have done that in March or April, especially for a print publication. That's really, really important. For a local, digital publication, might be totally different. You might be able to pitch a Christmas story right now, but most magazines, you can either make a phone call to or find their editorial calendars online, and really, take a look at those as you decide to pitch, because there's all kinds of things that they might do in an issue that you wouldn't otherwise know about, or certain advertisers that might advertise in an issue, and that might really fit the project that you're working on and you want to pitch. Thank you for coming, Stephanie. It was nice to meet you.
I'll be in touch. Thank you so much. Nice to
Have a great time at market.
Oh, thank you.
You're fine. Am I live? You're fine. I don't know why it's not going to the next slide. There we go. Understanding journalists and editors. This is important, and I don't pitch a lot of stories anymore. I talked about relationships earlier. I have been very lucky to make some really solid connections with 3 or 4 editors early in my career, that they come to me when they want a story, when they want a certain story that they know I can do, and that keeps me busy. And so I called my friend Michelle. You may have read her work before. She writes for Cincinnati Magazine. She writes for Indianapolis Monthly. She also writes about interior design for a lot of like Dwell, Architectural Digest, Digital, and Midwest Living, Southern Home Mag. She's got a ton of stuff on her radar. So I called her. I was like, Michelle, help me. What do journalists want? And she said the number one thing to consider is to pitch a journalist. So I have her email here that you can take a picture of in a minute. But she's one of many freelance journalists that cover the interior design industry, your local design industry. But she said always pitch a journalist. And the reason why is because editors are so busy. And I know you're busy. I know I'm busy. But editors are kind of a whole, it's a whole different ballgame. And they get thousands of emails a week. And if they don't know you, especially if you're, attaching photos of things, they're just going to click through and delete it. But if they have a solid relationship with a journalist and they know them and they know, their subject line is going to tell them what the pitch is, they're going to open those emails and they're going to, probably want the story, because if they open the email, the journalist probably knows what they're looking for. So consider, rifling through the magazines that you want to be featured in, finding those journalists. A lot of them are on Instagram. I will say Twitter, it's X now. I'm not on that platform, but that is where a lot of journalists and editors are. So that's good to find them. But find them, try to build these relationships. Like I said, Michelle's great. She's local, and she was happy to share her email with the group today. She couldn't make it down here, but I tried. So when you're pitching to journalists, and if you do know an editor, you can pitch an editor. But I would say if you don't know them, try to find the journalist first. What makes a story attractive to journalists? Unique story angles. Story angles are not topics. They are not ideas. A story angle is a hook, and that's what's going to bring your readers in. So some examples of story angles might be, like, I know in luxury interior design, like, celebrities are huge. So if you've got Joe Burrow's new house, and you're designing it and he's willing to be a part of the story, then celebrities are huge. Other angles, might be holidays, like I had said. Maybe you designed a house that's known to be haunted, or there's all kinds of silly things and very serious things that can be story angles that attach to, why your project is important, why you should be the one to tell it, and why now is the right time to tell it. High quality visuals are almost always a must. So we're talking professional photographs. A lot of places, especially local, regional, and digital publications, are going to want to use those. So if you're pitching a story, make sure you have rights to the professional photographs or have worked something out with the photographer before you go sharing their work and saying it's available. Bigger magazines, those top tier publications like I discussed before, they're probably going to want to send their own photographer out, but they also will need to see, that the work is good enough. So you still want to have those professional pictures to share with them first. Expert insight and authoritative voices. So that, goes back to acting. You want to be the authority in your niche, in whatever this angle is that you're pitching. You want to make sure that you're not wishy-washy on the topic. Like, this is your story, this is what you're going to share. And make sure you share that with the journalist. Like, this is what I want, this is what I intend to say. That doesn't say that's what's going to be said. The journalist might have another idea or a better idea. But I would always pitch that. And don't lose your integrity over it. If the journalist wants to completely change something, or the editor wants to completely change something, be willing to stand your ground and say, no, this is the story I wanted to tell. Unless what they're pitching you back is more relevant or is a better story for some reason. Exclusivity is very important, especially I would say kind of across the board. So if you are working on a project, like we have one of our clients that she just got new photographs, and we were so excited to see them. And I was so excited to add them to her social media this week. And she was like, wait, don't add anything because I really want to pitch this story to a magazine. And it was actually, she was right. It was a great idea. And she didn't want anything to go out, not on a blog, not on a newsletter, not on her social media, because she wanted that to be completely exclusive. So that means you don't blanket pitch several journalists or editors at the same time. You start with one, you finish. If that's not right up their alley or doesn't work out timing-wise, then you move to the next one. But you don't want to inundate every editor in the city with your story, because what if they all want it? Then it's not exclusive anymore. Timeliness and relevance. I talked about why now. That is very, very important in journalism, is why now. So, maybe it's Apollo Draperies 50th anniversary. And they're part of a project. Maybe it is, like I said, Joe Burrow's house. I'm assuming you're all Bengals fans. I don't know, I'm a Colts fan, but I do know who Joe Burrow is. It's seasonality, it's holidays, it's newsworthy for some reason, whether that's a cultural connection or otherwise. If I can get it to switch. So pitching press kits, press releases, and patience, that's a lot of P's. This is where your packet comes in. So Stephanie and I have put together a lot of really cool resources in your packet and in the digital downloads. They're not all physical in here. But if you scan the QR code, you can find several Google Docs with pitch templates. This has everything you need from this, what you're going to put in the subject line, to when you're going to follow up, to a follow-up template. We have info in here on creating press kits. Pitching is one thing that's very important, but if you can back it up with like, oh, I've got this press kit too, that's even better. That's one more layer of you're ready to be featured. Press releases are part of press kits, so you can have your press kit ready all the time. Like I said, the info that you need to create a press kit is in your packet. But then in the template guide, we've also got a press release template. So those are when you have big news, like last summer when Tina became Cincinnati's exclusive dealer of the Sunbrella collection, their new interior line. We sent out press releases with that information, letting, not just the news, but other organizations in the city that might be connected to that, or need to know or want to know that she's the exclusive Sunbrella dealer. There's all kinds of things that, why you might want to send out a press release, especially if you're doing commercial work or boutique commercial work. Lots of reasons for that, and we can definitely help you with those, with the templates. I will say about the templates, make them your own. Please make sure the highlighted parts are not highlighted anymore, and you filled in the right information before you email anything else. Patience is the big key when it comes to press, because nothing is guaranteed. Most of these journalists are freelancers. They're trying to get the story to get paid, just the same way you're trying to get the story to get featured. It's a waiting game. And a lot of times an editor might see their pitch and like their pitch, but no, that's gonna be a way better story next April than it is this November. So there's a lot of reasons to be patient. We do have like a follow-up guide, like when to follow up, in your packet here. Other ways to get coverage beyond, printed magazines, or in printed magazines, but other ways to get coverage, I guess, is what we'll stick with for this one, is PR firms. I will say, if you want to land something in one of those top tier publications, a PR firm is going to be your route. Like even Michelle told me, that even she's pitched AD print several times, and has had no luck, but then a friend of hers who hired a PR firm instantly got, a story. So it's a lot of those they work exclusively with PR firms. That's not to say you can't sneak something in, or that you can't DIY it, because we've provided a lot of good information and we can provide some support if you need. But there are PR firms out there that do really well. I did also bring, if anyone wants to look at this, I don't think Amy does PR work right now, but Recipe for Press, the designer edition. Amy Fleury has been on LuAnn's podcast several times talking about how to get press. This is an excellent book. She's got a great website with lots of good resources too. So that's here if anyone wants to check that out. If you don't want to play the waiting game, Connectively, formerly Harrow, you might know that as Help a Reporter Out, and Quoted are great websites to go to. Those are platforms where journalists can go. I've used them myself, and I used Harrow, I should say, when it was called Harrow. Journalists can go there and say, I'm working on a story. I need to talk to an interior designer, or I need to talk to a window treatment specialist. And you can, kind of say that's what I do, or there's different like levels. I think that it has changed a little bit, but I've got their websites up here that you can get in there and check them out. You can also think about branded content and paid advertorials in Absolute Living, and I know that Cincinnati Magazine does this too. Some of this is organic, some of this is like organic journalism, some of it is paid content, where like Faces of Women in Business of these bios I wrote, but it's an ad. These women paid for it. It was guaranteed to be the wording they wanted. You know, they looked it over before we published the picture they wanted. Guaranteed placement. There's no shame in that game, I promise you. It's a lot of things are paid these days, and it is a way to, you know, to still get that badge and still get your name out there. And sometimes it's a little more fun than just putting an ad somewhere. It's, you get to tell more of your story, showcase a project, things like that. There's also like really good relationship builders that you can make with like realtors that put out newsletters. Another one of our clients is doing I'm not sure if it's a newsletter or a blog or how they're doing it, but it's a collaboration with a realtor where they work with the realtor's clients and give them design ideas, and it's like a back and forth, and it's fun. I think it's like a little Q&A session they do once a month. Oops, I went on my slide. Blogs are another great thing, whether that's a blog on your website, again, telling your own story in your own words, the way you want it to be presented, sharing that, or guest blogging on someone else's site. There's lots of, influencers and things like that that welcome guest bloggers. So this is a slide if you want to take a photo of. It's got the websites for Connectively, formerly Harrow, quoted, Michelle's email, and this Facebook group, it's got my email down there at the bottom too. This is a Facebook group I'm a part of. I don't know, you're the only guy here, Ryan, so we can talk about it. Binders, is anyone familiar with the Binders groups at Facebook? It's a secret, they're a secret group. I don't like that I'm on live right now, but this is a Binders group. I think there are some men in it, so it doesn't really matter. But if you search home and garden writers, editors, and experts, it'll come up. There's a lot of good journalists in there, like always looking for people. There's industry, you can say like, I'm an expert on this, or this is my niche if you ever need to talk to me. It's just kind of a little communication tool that is easy because it's always there if people are checking it. Oops. So when you do get the press, I do want to touch on interviews because it's really important to be prepared for interviews. I know that design is not investigative. No one's going to come, an investigative journalist is not going to come up and ask you hard questions and, misquote you and all those kind of things. But you still want to be prepared, and you want to have your key messages prepared. There's been a lot of interviews, if anyone's been staying on top of their political stuff right now. If you watch the interviews, nobody's answering the questions. They're telling you what they want to tell you. So have 3 or 4 or 5, sound bites in your head. Practice these, the things that you definitely want to convey, and figure out how to work them into the questions. You want to be authentic and passionate, and you always want to provide concrete examples and stories when you're asked, assuming that they're your stories to share. A pro tip, and I think this is, like I said, it's not investigative journalism in the design industry, but if you can offer the journalist a written quote, something that you prepared ahead of time or after the interview, it's a great way to make sure that you're getting the point that you want to get across in the words you want. And I do that all the time when I interview people. I'm like, I'm recording your conversation. If you need to adjust your quote, just email me. It's, like I said, for the design industry, it's especially okay. Now, media relationships. Those are the journalists I talked about, like Michelle. They're the editors. Once you've written this or once you've been a part of a story, then maybe you do have the editor's contact and you can pitch them, or you can at least build that relationship. I want you to always remember that these aren't one-sided. Like, journalists don't make a lot of money. Nothing is ever guaranteed if you're a freelancer. So be authentic about your relationships. Know that it's not one-sided. and do things that can nurture the relationship, whether that's, going to their industry events or sharing their work on social media or offering to connect them to new and different sources. Just like anything in the business, you have to, you can't look at it one-sided, and you have to, always continue to nurture those digitally and in person. So this is one of my favorites. It goes back to that "be prepared to be lucky" quote from LuAnn. You could do this, all year long, send out your pitches, not have good luck, feel impatient about it, but hopefully eventually the time will come and you'll get the opportunity. So be ready for it. Be ready to schedule that interview, have your ducks in a row and your systems and processes in place to respond to the journalists, and have your contracts ready that you can use those photos, or that the homeowner, this was a story Michelle told me, it was devastating. She said she had gotten this great story, or this, great design, great story, editor loved it, beautiful photos. The editor wanted a homeowner interview, and they refused, and they wouldn't print the story. They said that's, they want to see that storytelling. So, even if it's not in your contract, maybe put those kind of things in your language as you're going through the process that, I do pitch to the press, and would you be willing, and find out what the boundaries are before you start extending them on your own. And respect the boundaries if they ask you to, because it is their home. But be prepared, and that doesn't mean just in, following up on your pitches and being ready for your interviews. That's everything. That's, like I said, it's your website, it's your blog, it's everything that they have access to, because they want to see that, especially if we're pitching luxury design, that everything is ready for them. It's not, you're not a rookie. Even if you are a rookie, don't look like a rookie. So Stephanie and I at Hamilton Creatives and the team, Ryan just asked me how many Stephanie has on her team now, and I want to say it's like 6 or 7. We're a fun and growing group, and there's a lot of ways that we can help. We specialize in branding and strategic storytelling. We specialize in email newsletters, whether that's once a month, twice a month, however you want to do it, quarterly. We want to tell your story to your audience through email. We work on professional blogs, website development, social media management, and also, any other kind of digital marketing or physical marketing we can help with too. So there's lots of avenues that we can help, including press pitching and media support. We are not a full-fledged PR firm, but there's lots of ways that we can support you if you don't want to completely DIY it, but you're not ready to hire that full-fledged PR firm. So everyone today that is here, thank you for coming, and feel free to connect with us. We would like to extend a free complimentary consultation with Stephanie and myself, most likely via Zoom. If you do want to discuss, how we can support you in your press efforts, how we can support you in your digital marketing efforts, or even if you just have questions after today, it's no strings attached at all. If you're curious to learn more beyond this, we are here to help. I really appreciate everybody coming. I really appreciate you, Tina, for having me. Like I said, I don't get out from behind my computer a lot, so thank you for bearing with my my technicalness, my technical deficiencies. And I really want to see you guys in the press. Please email me when you get there.
So if I could just take a minute, if you have any questions, please feel free to grab one of us, or Susie as well. True testimonial here to this woman. Back in July, when we were having our Sunbelt event, they helped me with my press release, and we pitched it to Sophisticate Magazine, high-end magazine locally, right? They didn't do anything with it at that time. However, last month, I got an email from David Millett, the editor, who denied it the first time and came back and said, would you be available to do a story in January, February? So don't get discouraged, it happens. Not everybody's gonna want it, might not be the time, whatever. However, it's coming full circle, and this girl right here is getting lead in that magazine, so.
Well, and this was in my notes and I forgot to talk about it, so I'm glad you brought it up. Because he came back first and said, you know, we could do it like a paid advertorial. And we said, let's just wait, let's be patient before you do that, and it all happened. So I'm really excited about that.
So thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for her?
I have a question about, you kind of touched on about navigating your clients' boundaries. Do you have any advice on how to do that up front and then remind them that maybe they agreed to that? You know, I feel like as a project can go on for years, they
I
might
know,
forget
and
that they said that was okay, or